everyone, this is Ellen Francisco. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's March. Welcome to the new reality. Alright, so this is our new moon cycle coming up today and moving through. So I wanted to do some cards for the month as well as just kind of get an overall energetic read. So for me, you know, I was mentioning last month and the month before working on first and second chakra issues. So now I know why all that was coming up with what's going on and the amount of fear and panic in the collective. So I think that a lot of people have already processed that stuff and they really are in the tail end of it. And I really feel like collectively we've been slowed down so that we have an opportunity to metabolize some of the things that have been riding on the undercurrent of our own energetic. So individually and collectively in a lot of ways. So the relationship to self has been something that I felt was, you know, in high demand for humanity. So here we are in this forced isolation, in this pretense of slowing down so that we can slow down something that we can't see. So if you look at your own sense of spiritual growth as something you can't see as well, then you're growing into things in new ways that you can't see during this period as well. So while everyone's running around worried about, you know, who's dying, who's going to die, who's vulnerable enough to die, so are we asking ourselves on the inside, what things are dying off within us, you know. So there are so many things that we've been called to let go, you know, like things that we were really attached to and things that we couldn't adapt our way away from, you know, where things would need to be taken from us for the adaptation to occur, you know, the kind of thing that makes us a better version of ourselves if we're in willing alignment to the disarray. So fighting the flow would be so detrimental to your psyche at this point in your own sense of mental health. I wouldn't recommend it. It, as hard as it would be, and trying to hold on, obviously, people are going to want to do that, hold on to jobs, hold on to businesses, hold on to ideals in, you know, the community, and so much of that is shifting that the less attached to things obviously you are, then the better. So I also get the sense that we're really moving into the heart chakra as well. It's a little ironic that the virus is moving through the heart region and through the lungs and through the heart chakra, so, and choking off our breath. So the amount of emotion that we're processing as a collective is really massive, like really massive. And in some ways I can see there being emotional wounding happening on a collective level as well. When I'm looking at, you know, I always see us with our own individual auras, but I also see, you know, the sense of, you know, this big giant collective aura of information and how much we're you know, having to sift through and reorganize our emotional realities. And that's Piglet. Hi, Piglet. You want to do some cards, Cookie? You want to do some cards and see what's going on in the future? Because we've got a lot of things. So even, you know, animals, I really believe, feel these things, right? Like I remember living in California and having earthquakes when I had animals, and they would often sense it before it came, you know, and they would act strange. And my dog has been really clingy to me for a while, and whoops, there we go. So so our sensitivities have been just assaulted with all this new information. You know, it's sent us into this collective shock wave. So, but there are so many realists that run under the current of all of this that I think that, you know, that people will stabilize for the most part, and you know, kind of rise. It's certainly an interesting type of patriotism, really, when you think of it, all of these isolating little countries that are potting themselves off and, you know, becoming better versions of themselves, healthier versions of themselves, you know, reassessing systems and procedures that may not be, you know, simply serving the public's health and the public's longevity. So, so heart chakra stuff too. You know, room to breathe, right? You think about the room that you have to breathe in your lungs, and you think about the room that you now have to breathe in your life, because everything is taken away from you, all these external outlets and things that you would plug into day to day. So, hello my love bug. Hello love bug. Hello love bug. Are you gonna go get your ball? Is that what you're gonna do? Play hour. Might need to play a little bit. So, you know, that brings me up to a good point. It's like everybody's fear-mongering out there. So what are you doing to have fun? Is there anything going on that you can do with yourself that's way more fun than worrying about things? I guess let's look at some cards. So for this week, with the 23rd of March through the weekend, and we have Knight of Pentacles. Could you say our dollars on the move? Page of Pentacles. Got some wands coming up. And more wands. Happy endings. So the dichotomy of this hyper focus and big overview, hyper focus, big overview, it's huge. Obviously, people trying to figure out the intricacies of this giant new world. You know, lots of fighting, I think, is going to be happening as far as just, you know, debates over what best protocols and things like that. Situations where, you know, people are reactive. People are obviously still in a bit of a reactive mode. I'm glad this isn't upside down, as a matter of fact, because it does give me the sense that regardless of what the first pallor of this is, that there'll be enough good outcome and solid, you know, shifts that will help us reach a better sense of ourselves, right? Like, if this is a great opportunity to get to know yourself better clearly, having time alone and not having as many distractions and interferences. Of course, you probably may have some more distractions if you've got kids and at home with you, but talk about living in the moment, right? Like, your kids are always going to bring you into the moment. There's just too much happening in the moment for them not to bring you into the moment. Whether you can stay there or be present in the moment, I guess, is one thing. So it is a great opportunity to be present with yourself and finding value. When I look at Pentacles, you know, it is value. What's your value system? Obviously, that's in flux, and I think in some ways this whole market thing, I get the sense that, you know, just more dips, more dips, more dips. Highs and lows, you know, that, or not even so much highs, but more just lows. And yeah, to me, it almost feels like all those investors that were in it, you know, doing really speculative stuff, sort of banking on, you know, the relative day-to-day norms, you know, and then it's just all of a sudden gone, and they're not able to. So I just see all this, like, I just see money right now like a wave. It waves over this way, and then it waves over this way, and then it just seems like you know, this tidal wave of where's it going, how's it going, is it rebounding, what's going on. So Enterprises with the wands talk about surging in new ideas for entrepreneurialism, almost like outcroppings of businesses are going to be born out of this time to streamline all kinds of things that not only in medical profession but somehow in transportation lines too, as well as well, obviously transportation and, you know, for travel, but when I first thought about that, I've thought about it more in the lines of commerce and things moving around, so, and cost of goods and things like that, obviously. Yeah, I do get the sense that it's almost like big business owes the little man karmically, and that this is an opportunity for big business to come through for the little guy at this point, and to stabilize some protocols that would allow for you know, like society to be better maintained, where, you know, things that are more useful to our day-to-day needs or our preservation are more, you know, realistically developed. It's going to be wild to see how education changes. Like, talk about a way to prevent mass shootings in high schools. Take everybody home. It'd be like, of course, you know, people unwinding in the home place because they can't handle who they're living with. Like, that's unfortunate too. So for people that are living in domestic situations that are troublesome, then, you know, it really is important to make sure that you get your little bits of self-care and things that you need to do for yourself. So whether that's zoning out with music, or, you know, running backwards around the block, or meditating your way through, you know, I am consciousness with positivity is a really good idea. So coming into the following week after that, all right, so people, it's back. And look, it's good news. We've got all our fulfillment. So it does seem like we end next week on a high note, as high as a note as we can, considering our circumstances. And that's not a bad way to start the week. So Temperance is the next card here. I always think of this as life's frivolities. So this actually came in the upside down position. Shouldn't have turned it over. And another Page of Cups. So recurring themes here, right? So we may have a little bit of a forward momentum and a little step back, a little high, a little low, obviously. But there does seem to be news. Something is, you know, this sense of victory. This is, to me, this is, you know, winning the war and coming home the victor. So, so there probably will be some sense of national or international news that would be helpful. You know, just some sense of accomplishment. Temperance to me is just, you know, in every sense, going with the flow, trying to main flow, trying to balance, trying to stabilize. So as well as, you know, the sense that people will be a little more questioning of the God energy and what the overall, like, what is going on here and what's the intention, and why is it such a mess. So this idea of how do we have good things happen to us? What do we do wrong? You know, the sense that people might be looking at their own behavior, wondering if they're cursed and are they going to get it, you know. So the sense of worry is intermingling with the sense of hopefulness as well. So, good heavens, Piglet, where is it? I'm going to have to go digging for this thing. I'll be right back. All right. So, you know, I was thinking about the heart chakra, as I mentioned, and it's really going to be important to try to stay open-hearted through all of this uncertainty. As easy as it is to get angry at change that isn't planned on, or, oh my gosh, my dog. Okay, sorry about that. I have to go get my ornery dog organized. So, yeah, my dog is definitely feeling all these shifts. He's hanging out with me more. He's under the covers more. He's been trying to eat pillows. It's just been a little bit stressful, I think, for him. I have an uneary sense of calm. Not sure why that is. Maybe because I'm just more in flow with my own life right now, so it's not as troublesome. So for the week after the 5th of April, so the 12th of April, let's see what's coming up for there. Yep, so we've got 4 of Cups. We've got the Lovers upside down. We've got another 10 of Cups, which is one of my favorite cups in the deck. 2 of Wands and 2 of Swords. So, yeah, the sense of duality in the highs and lows, and you know, like it's 2 2s and 2s here. Everything's divisible by 2s. So yeah, the idea that, you know, relationship with the spiritual world and the God, and what's the divine meaning of all of this. So in a lot of ways, I feel like people are going to become more spiritual because of this, because they just have more questions. It's like they realize, wow, I'm not in control, and so much is beyond my control. Then, you know, how do I harness this energy so it works for me? Like, how do you make it work for you? Lovers, relationship to relationship, relationship to self, relationship to inner self, not so much inner child work this time round, more just self-care, balancing male-female dualities. And so, you know, an example of that might be, you know, thinking something with your mind and feeling something with your heart, and trying to find the middle ground between, you know, having reverence for your own thought processes, but some belief in your own heart. So family, you know, the ability to re-nourish and reconnect and rework some of the family dynamic. Lots of family dynamic in this week, in that week particularly. So I like 2 of Swords because to me it shows that there is a lot going on below the surface that isn't easily seen, that is more sentient, that is more a feeling nature, the sense of. So, you know, that's where intuition is born and cultivated and drawn upon. So the idea that you have more time to go inward and to listen, as well as to see things more clearly, with your blindfold on will be helpful. Also get the sense of, and it is interesting to see this card with the mask on, right? And obviously it's not. So the sense of we're seeing so much that we would prefer not to see. Like, who wants to see mankind suffer so much? Who wants to see the world fall apart at our feet? You know, I mean, as much as you may argue that we came here to be on the planet for this kind of work during these kinds of changes, and you know, keeping the faith during such seemingly dark movements of time, it's, you know, it's spiritually eloquent to still be willing to show up, you know, show up embodied through it, you know, instead of up and out of your body gone. And so that's another thing too, right? Like I mentioned last month that we were doing the first and second chakra work, and there was a lot of past life stuff moving through us, and old hurts and traumas and things like that, old emotional realities. So if that's the case, the way I'm relating to this month would be, having done some of that, I think that people are finding, I think there's a lot of people who are finding it's way easier to deal with this than they would have imagined, or that they're looking at themselves going, wow, I've done enough of my own inner work that this might have been more difficult, but it actually was okay. I mean, inconvenient it may be, but not tragic, and not, you know, the adaptability financially clearly is something a lot of will work on. But you know, when you're talking about life and death situations, financial issues tend to pale in comparison, you know, as long as you've obviously got enough means to take care of those medical needs, or enough services to allow those to be taken care for you. So, so all in all, I don't think that's too bad a week. Although I do get the sense that, like, there's stuff that's going to be coming out. Things that, like, more mid-April though, for whatever reason. So if we were to do the 19th or so through, not as good a week. So we've got Hanged Man, although it is upside down. Funny enough, Hanged Man upside down is not necessarily right side up. And we've got Empress, which is natural, right? Earth and natural. Here we've got the sort of the betrayal of mankind. It's, you know, that is the sense too. It's like, yes, it's a virus, but the sense that, but man carried it, even if it was made elsewhere, however it was made and concocted, it still is affecting mankind. So it's like the sense. Hi, all right, so let's take a look at the last week of April 2020. Like, wow. Talk about kicking off the start of an astrological calendar year with a bang in North America. All this coronavirus. So we're back to 2 of... Oh my goodness, we can't get away from all these cards. So I guess there's going to be lots of the same. This is, to me, a global card too. Enterprise and business, global businesses, and concern over global economies. Judgment is an interesting card because it often, to me, it reminds me of, you know, like the Red Cross having to come in and help people, as well as that sense of people having to face their own mortality and having one foot in this world and one foot in another world. So they're really worried about, obviously, their own mortality and but their own survival, you know. I mean, these are core survival issues as well. So but the fact that this card keeps coming up in all of April you know, makes me think that we will be, you know, going to have to find the value in being at home. And this is great because, again, it's coming home after a war with victory. So that's good. So I think that things will probably stabilize in a way that, like, the government can kind of take a bit of a breath and momentarily relax. But it still feels like things are going to be shifting like crazy. So the World for the last week of April. Hangman. Empress. More sense of betrayal. And the Star. So, you know, what's great about things when they shift so rapidly without a whole lot of stabilization in between is that you learn to be adaptive to the 10th degree. Like, you really do learn to kind of find your balance even with everything shaking around you. And in that is usually where, you know, your own spiritual guidance is coming up from within, or, you know, through your dream state, or through, you know, the sense of these downloads coming in. So I think that regardless of whatever's going on in the media and in the forefront and in the community, there's still going to be the sense that people are more able to listen to themselves and to suss out information that they need to use for their own benefit, so that they can you know, stabilize their own resources and have logical plans in illogical times. So that's another thing too, is trying to keep a grasp on reality, as reality seems so surreal. You know, also the idea of having this card makes me think that, you know, it's obvious that we're shifting our focus as far as what's important. You know, not that some of the things that we held important aren't still going to be important, but the fact that we don't have access to them will immediately diminish their importance because there will be the inaccessibility. So, you know, shifting through our own priorities and, yeah, so what an amazing opportunity to test out some faith in your own abilities to rise to the occasion, to strengthen your core systems. I really feel like some people are going to rise and shine through this period and come out of this hibernation more intact and more in alignment with themselves than if they'd continued mingling with man in the way that they were. So, you know, not true for everyone, obviously. I think that there's obviously going to be these polarities of reality for people that, you know, might on the surface look really like the haves and the have-nots, but it's also going to be just, you know, surrendering to impossible circumstances and being willing to, I mean, that's the thing, you know, you get into these tough economical times and push comes to shove. So there may be, you know, new business opportunities for people where they would never have had them and never have thought of them. And then suddenly they're in their lap, you know, like the guy who's suddenly making thousands of masks in his, you know, mechanic shop or something crazy, you know. Innovation comes through these really troublesome, unknowing periods. So this card is like the card that steals things. Like, he's the guy that comes in and takes your jewelry when you're not looking, right? So So that was a thing that I thought about earlier. You know, I kind of got this sense that all the stuff going on the surface with coronavirus is obviously overrunning media circuits, and yet I really get the sense that there are some things that are really should be in the forefront of the news and are kind of being hidden along the sidelines, almost like, you know, and I keep getting the sense that there are not only other laws that are coming into effect, but that, you know, some of them are going to linger a little longer, I think, than some people are going to be comfortable with. So there's going to be this sense of, you know, looking at our own civil liberties and wondering, like, how free were we ever really? And I think that that's going to be a little disturbing in the North American culture, at least. And you know, but the propensity towards, you know, a growing civil unrest is obvious too, to me, although I don't really get the sense that it's going to be a really big deal now, in the, like, for us in North America, in the immediate, I mean, it is going to be bad, but still doable. And I keep getting this. So I think April, as weird as it is, it's going to be good for us in a lot of ways, in so many ways. I think the benefits are going to outweigh the negative impact initially. And, you know, we're going to have to buckle in and be creative in the ways that we explore our next steps. He's coming out of the deck again, too. So, yeah, so I think that people they're going to be very guarded and very, you know, like, don't steal my health, don't steal my stuff, don't steal my job, don't steal my anything. Ace of Swords, too, is opportunity, right? And cutting through things, you know, cutting out things, cutting off things, cutting, you know, direct communication, harsh direct communication, all of that can be tied in with the Ace of new ways to communicate, innovative ways to share information, you know, talking about between cultural, different cultural societies and, you know, protocols in countries for medical care. Back to Judgment and worrying about whether you're staying or you're going. So, yeah, staying positive is going to be paramount during this time period. And back to the Star. So, yeah, I think we're going to be becoming even more psychic. I mean, just the sense, even of, like, oh, how could you hear anything with all this panic? But I really do get the sense that we're tuning in deeper with ourselves anyway. It's becoming more obvious, so it's not as easy to silence your inner voice at this point. It's much easier to cultivate it and allow it to be heard. You know, so keep that in mind, that this is, as things seem to dismantle in the outer world, things are coming together in the inner world, and that's par for the course. And, you know, you're going to be able to springboard a better sense of your own internal core. You know, you're working on core energy too during this period, as much as I see the third chakra not being too active in this month. So this is, to me, the rest card, and reevaluating and quieting off, meditation, sleeping, you know, can be sleep cycles being disrupted, respite, surrender, all that good stuff. And back to the Star. So, yeah, lots through as well, coming through the subconscious. So you may be getting messages, you know, especially if you're someone who has unstable employment as a result of this, you may be getting messages and impulses to go here, go there, try this, try that. So, you know, you will have to honor some of these plottings from inside your being and, you know, see which ones work the best. So, staying calm, obviously, and focused on the fact that a lot's going to change this year and keep changing. So, change is our new reality, people. So, hang on and hold on. Do what you can to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Have patience with mankind. Everyone's having a hard time adjusting. And, you know, keep the faith in yourself. Don't give up so easily. Don't believe in worst case scenarios as much as we may be seeing them. Don't tie in too much to the belief of them so that you can soften the impact it has on your life. And yes, so, and definitely get your rest. Keep a dream journal. Probably going to remember some dreams because you have more time to dream. This is great. Like, all these people that needed rest that could never get it because too much was going on and too many things were happening too fast. So relish in this cosmic timeout, partial cosmic timeout, and love the life you've got and love the skin you're in, people. And try to indulge in things that are healthy for you and keep looking on the bright side. Hard to see when we're in the thick of it, but there is a bright side here. So have a fabulous couple of weeks, month, day. Live in your heart. Be your truth. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, I would sure appreciate it because it'll make me feel like I'm not wasting my breath. That would be great. Because I hope that I can help you and take some of the pressure off of your daily life. There are all kinds of ways that you can reach out and touch people without being anywhere near them to touch them. So those are going to be creative things that you can do with how you tell the people that are important to you that you love them and that you care about them and you hope that they're doing as well as you are. So I think it's going to be an interesting segue into a whole different realm of social connection. So bless your little hearts and find them for sure because they'll lead you through all kinds of sticky situations. Be good to yourself. And yeah, so yeah, definitely it's going to keep, this whole thing is really going to ricochet through the world over and over and over again. Wow, it's just like, it's unbelievable ebbs and flows of energy and money and, you know, attention, all of it. It's like, you know, we're going to be dragged, you know, learn so much about all kinds of countries you never really thought about and appreciate yours in ways that you didn't think you could, you know. So it's really interesting how some of the polarities are shifting. As much as you talk about, you know, the poles are shifting, so are the poles shifting as far as our own dichotomies and extremes and highs and lows and opposites. So yeah, stay safe out there and be good to yourself, and thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming, and if I can help in any other way, you let me know, alright? It's way better to stay calm, my lovelies. Try to be... Bye for now.